Good day, everyone. Meteorologist Mark Molnar here. Thank you for joining me for this edition, MeteoMark's Weather Northeastern and Weather Eastern. Take a look at this. Yeah, we're going to be dealing with the potential for this post-Thanksgiving storm. What's the evolution of this system? Well, it's going to eject out of the mid-Mississippi River Valley and head up the U.S. East Coast. The Euro and the GFS do differ, though, on exactly the evolution of the storm and how much wintry precipitation is going to occur. But we're going to get into all the details of this system and more, how much more lake effect, and we'll take a look at the tropics as well. Let's get into it. All right, so let's start with the GFS here, and then I'll transition to the Euro. I'll show you the precipitation outlook first. This is heading into Thursday, so Thanksgiving Day. Yeah, it's going to be pretty wet here across the south, but, you know, the Northeast looking pretty sunny. So if you have any travel plans, definitely looking okay. Don't see any wintry precipitation until you get up here into parts of Ontario. But watch this. As this system heads up just into the Midwest here, you can see the area of low pressure, and then there's going to be energy reforming here along the U.S. East Coast as we go throughout Friday here. This is Friday at 1 a.m. You can see still no wintry precipitation here. Temperatures on the GFS are pretty marginal for any wintry precipitation, because initially this low to the west is going to drag up warm air ahead of it, as naturally occurs. Now, the big question is this low strengthens. Both the GFS and the Euro are indicating the system is going to head either just inland along the coast or just off the coast or just inland here, somewhere in this region. So this low back here is going to weaken. Will this warm air continue to win out, or will we see colder air filtering back on a strengthening system here? Well, it is negligible. You can see here on the GFS, we do try to get some temperatures here. There's just still very marginal, and up here in northern New England as well. But the big question is, will we see heavy precipitation that helps create some of this changeover? This is Sunday, November 27th. I noticed the GFS is a little bit slower on the whole evolution of the system too, hanging it back much longer, and then we get lake effect that occurs behind it. As you can see, quite a big lake effect outbreak the week after Thanksgiving here. All right, so here is the European surface model here. As we go throughout the week, there is that high pressure along the East Coast. This is what's going to control your weather through Thanksgiving Day. This is going to help boost the temperature slightly as we head throughout the week. So it's not going to feel so stormy, and it's going to be rather quiet until about Friday. Look at this. You can see Friday across the east, this low pressure rides up along the upper Midwest. Now, you have an area of energy down here in the southeast. This is the big wild card. Big old high initially up here in the northeast. It's too far northeast to supply a significant amount of cold air initially. But look what gets cranking here. Here's the two areas of energy. This one is going to become the primary low. This is the secondary low that hangs back. You can see the occluded front here. This is what's going to take over. And this is what I'm really interested in here, because initially there's going to be a surge of warm air from the south, from this initial low. But as this low gets cranking off the coastline here, or just slightly inland, it's going to be interesting to see where this sets up. There it is. That is Friday, just before noon. 999 millibar low south of New Jersey, 996 here. So let's actually zoom into the Northeast here, regionally. And we'll pick up where I left off here. Here we go. So we're getting to Friday. There it is. 991 millibar low. This is as you head towards just before sunset here, just around sunset. Look at this. So you start to get some mixing. The rain mixing with and changing with wet snowflakes here, parts of the Northeast. So yeah, this is getting pretty interesting. What happens to all this moisture here in the Susquehanna River Valley, Catskills, Poconos? You can see up here in parts of the Adirondacks and the White Mountains, there's definitely some snowfall happening here. Now, this low is really going to get cranking. What happens on the backside? This is where things get interesting. Let's back that up a frame. This is just after midnight, Friday night. So we have this low pressure strengthening. It's in the southern Hudson Valley here. So whatever's falling on the northwest side of this low could potentially be heavy, wet snow. So I wanted to bring this to your attention. This still has the potential to really become quite a storm, but the model is having a little bit of a trouble. See how it skips the low down into parts of the Gulf Stream here? So yeah, there's some there's some problems. There's some feedback problems on both the major models here. So I want this to kind of sort itself out over the next couple of days. We'll have a better idea as we go through towards Tuesday here exactly what's going to happen. But you can definitely see there is something going on here in the parts of interior Northeast, depending on where this low pressure system sets up. And look at this. This is some lake enhancement on the backside. Now the Euro's taking this low a little bit further out to sea here. Look at this. Yeah, this is some lake enhanced snow on the backside here. So this is kind of keeping some warm air into parts of New England. We'll have to see just how true that is. But look at this, 970 millibars. This is Saturday, essentially just afternoon. Look at this. This is a massive low pressure system. And look what's happening across upstate New York here. This would be some very heavy wet snow across parts of the Northeast. So definitely want to keep an eye on this. And look how it starts to retrograde back towards the west here. And then you really get some heavy snow building into parts of upstate New York and northern and central New England here. Yeah, this could be a prolonged event. This is Sunday, just before sunrise. Look at these isobars really close together. This would signify 30, 40, 45, even 50 mile per hour wind gusts here. And, you know, as we lift that out to the Northeast, yeah, it sets us up for a warmer pattern setting in. But we have to get through this coming weekend. All right, so as we take a look at snowfall here across the Northeast, we're taking a look at the Euro model first here. It's pretty interesting as we get towards parts of, you know, north of Syracuse here. We're going to see some of these snowballed areas, another 6 to 12 inches. But the heaviest is pretty much over with at this point. But take a look at this. I just wanted to show you later on in the week. What's the Euro kind of painting a picture of here? It looks like an elevation storm here on the Euro. You can see the white and green mountains here, the Adirondacks, parts of the western Catskills, part of the Poconos here, the highlands just south of Buffalo here. Yeah, this is where we could see some of this heavier snow sitting up. But we have a lot of time to watch it here. Definitely want to see what the Tuesday and Wednesday models are coming out as. All right, so if we take a look at the HRRR, your future radar here, yeah, we're going to see a pretty good amount of snowfall left from some of these lake effect snow bands. So as you can see, those will be lifting north throughout the night, heading into early Monday morning. You can see here across northern part of Oswego County and heading on into Jefferson and Lewis counties. Those heavier snow bands will be retreating and weakening, and you see around the Buffalo area, those start to weaken as well. You can see a generalized snow up here in parts of southeastern Ontario and Quebec. You can see as that pinwheels to the north, you can see it's bringing down an Arctic frontal boundary. So we get a nice, but it's a windy day here across the Northeast heading into your Monday. You can see up here in the parts of southern Ontario, we've got quite a bit in the way of the snow banding action going on. Take a look at this. Yeah. So we're going to see intense bands of snowfall along this Arctic boundary. And how far to the south does it get? Well, this is 5 p.m. Monday. As we stretch into your evening hours, you can see some of it starts to get into the Adirondacks and up into parts of northern Vermont and New Hampshire here. We start to get little hints of it here north of Syracuse, but as we go throughout the night, that Arctic boundary kind of weakens. It heads to the southeast and it washes out. So we're not going to set up for a colder Tuesday at all. In fact, that boundary literally falls apart and we head towards a warming trend as we go through the rest of the week. So taking a look at HRRR, our Mesoscale models, there's that snowfall there just north of Syracuse. Yeah, we're going to get another, 6, 12 inches here. The Lake Erie band is going to become weaker and lift to the north. This will eventually lift to the north, but, parts of the Tug Hill here down and through parts of Oswego County, Onondaga counties, even Syracuse could pick up 3 to 6 inches here heading on into your night. And let's take a look at the NAM 3 kilometer here. Yeah. That's a pretty significant area as well. We're heading up towards, the NAM 3 kilometers, a little more bullish here, just north of Syracuse. That's where you could get another foot or more of snowfall here. So definitely want to watch out for that. The Lake Erie band is definitely washing out at this point. But look at this here on the NAM 3 kilometer. You can see there's kind of a Georgian Bay connection going on here. Let me get my pencil working. There we go. You can see it. Evidence of that as well. All right, now here's the surface map of the GFS. You can see the high-pressure system. It remains in control across the eastern part of the United States, as we just saw in the Euro as well. But here's the strengthening low-pressure system as it moves up through the Ohio Valley. and the precipitation evolution of the system. There's that transfer of the energy to the coastline here. You can see as the system moves up the coastline here, the GFS isn't grabbing onto any idea of any snowfall here. You can see back across the interior sections, it's still remaining rain here. So let's zoom in here onto the Northeast, and there we go. We'll fast forward it to the day after Thanksgiving. There it is, 991 millibar low. And as we continue, you can see heavy precipitation up into parts of the Northeast lingering on the GFS into Sunday. So the GFS really slowing the system down. You can see 984 millibars right in central Long Island here, just east of New York City. Still no hints of any changeover until you get up into parts of northern New England here. So 981 millibars. Yeah, and it seems like there's a trough of low pressure hanging out behind it as well. So it should help to focus the precipitation. It's still showing pretty much rain, though. So we'll see. There's still time for this evolution. I think the models aren't completely on board, but we're slowly coming into better agreement here. So taking a look at the high-resolution Euro here, you can see here across North America, we start out with that big old trough, that hibernation trough here, parts of the Northeast. As we go throughout the week towards Thanksgiving, you can see the European model here pushes a ridge into the area initially there. Thanksgiving Day, there it is. Let's stop it right there. See if we can get it. There we go. So across parts of the East, there is that ridge. But look what's coming in behind it here. This is the big wild card. This is what I want you to stay tuned for, because things could really get cranking here depending on exactly where this trough sets up and where this low pressure follows. The Euro is kind of following more potentially a coastal or just slightly inland. Could this mean interior snows here across the Northeast? This is something we got to keep an eye on, because models have been trending a little bit further east there. And with a bomb of a low-pressure system down to as much as 967 millibars, 970. This thing could really get cranking just after Thanksgiving here, so definitely want to keep an eye and see how it kind of holds back here across the East. This is heading on into Monday, November 28th. We could see a prolonged area of a time period here of whatever the precipitation falls here, because look at the massive blocking up here in parts of Greenland, and it really... It's not by until middle of next week that we get a ridge building in across the East. All right, so taking a look at your tropical outlook here. Yeah, I wanted to keep this going for all my Caribbean viewers. We're pretty much going to say goodbye to the tropics for the most part, but, we still can't rule out the possibility, that some of these stalled out frontal boundaries might cause some problems. This is Monday. I don't see in the near term this frontal boundary here across the Gulf of Mexico. I don't see it causing much in the way of problems. We have some areas here in the southern parts of the Caribbean. Intertropical convergence zone there east of the Lesser Antilles, you can see remaining pretty active out here in parts of the Atlantic. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But here off the southeast coast, this seems to be a generalized frontal boundary that's causing all of our problems here. All of that heavy rain across parts of Florida. Thankfully, none of this is severe weather, so that is great news as we head throughout the forecast period here. And as we continue to progress, you can see this kind of forms like a nor'easter type thing off the coastline here. You can get some sort of subtropical systems this time of year as well. You can see intertropical convergence zone really lighting up here parts of east of the Lesser Antilles. You can see quite a bit in the way of activity. But look at this, across parts of Jamaica, all the way up into Haiti and Cuba here, Puerto Rico, it is looking really clear. Look at this. So yeah, we start to get some activity though. This is Saturday, November 26th. Take a look at this. Just wanted to make note. Look at that. There's our northeast system up there in the northeast cranking up the coastline there. But as we get into later on that week, beyond Thanksgiving, you can see Sunday, November 27th, we do get some wave of tropical wave action here going on. So this is going to be pinwheeling towards the northwest here, towards parts of Jamaica as we head into the last week here of November, heading on into December. So some of these waves we will have to watch. Look at this. We start to get some one of these more frisky tropical waves here as we head towards Tuesday, November 29th. So we could be getting some heavy rain in the Jamaica area as this wave progresses eastward. And we'll continue to watch it here. This could be a pretty vigorous wave. Could it become a system? It's not entirely out of the question. Look at that. And it heads westward towards the Yucatan and the Gulf of Mexico. This is by November 30th. Look at that. But we do have a frontal boundary to the north here in the lower 48 here of North America. Look at that. So yeah, as we go out in time, you can see heading on into December, though, you can pretty much see the tropical season will be coming to a close. And as we head into the Western Pacific here, what is going on? Well, take a look at this. Yeah, we do have the possibility there's some tropical waves still out here. Definitely want to keep an eye on these as we go throughout time here. But look at this. Things are looking pretty good. There's a lot of tropical moisture here from Vietnam up to South China, you can see. But look at this. The Philippines remaining pretty clear through the forecast period until we get to about, this is Wednesday, November 23rd. There is a bit of a tropical wave approaching the southern part of the Philippines here. But that pretty much weakens, which is great news. We have a frontal boundary up here south of Japan. It's looking better here as we go into the Western Pacific through the end of the month. You can see we do have this tropical wave. I've been watching this for quite some time here on the GFS. You can see very persistent here with bringing this tropical wave westward. And we will watch it here because I still think this has the potential medium term here to become a potential typhoon. Will it affect the Philippines, Taiwan, Japan? Well, it remains to be seen. Let's take a look. Yeah, it's becoming pretty big of a typhoon here. This is December 1st, so this is going pretty far out. A lot can change. But if you notice something here, there's a lot of stratiform clouds by this point here south of Japan. This is that frontal boundary, so I'm pretty confident, initially this might try to get pushed on to the northwest. This is becoming a pretty big typhoon, though. Take a look at that. So there's the northern Philippines here. As we go in time, GFS, though, lifts that frontal boundary to the northeast. So what's going to happen here, you can see it trying to bend southwestward here. It's going to be a close call. So if you're in the northern Philippines, definitely keep an eye on this because the GFS is taking it dangerously close to you. This is Saturday, December 3rd. And, your tropical season really doesn't end here very often. So look at this. Yeah, here's Taiwan up here as well. So if you're in Taiwan, the northern Philippines, please keep an eye on this. Look at this. Passing just between the two areas. This is the Sunday, December 4th. So this solution would bring some typhoon-type conditions here to the northern Philippines, and then it weakens it as it heads westward here, but still a pretty formidable system by, December standards here. So please, if you're in the Philippines, Taiwan, South China, look at that. It brings it into South China as a weaker system, but definitely keep an eye on it here. Robert Stone from near Dunkirk, New York, just off Lake Erie, south of Buffalo. Look at us. Yeah, he was on the southern edge of this band of snow. This is early Friday morning. This past Friday morning, you can see quite a bit in the way of snowfall, quite a winter wonderland across his area. You can see the snow continue to pile up throughout the day Friday. He didn't get the snow in the massive quantities of feet that were around Orchard Park just south of Buffalo, but nevertheless, he saw quite a bit in the way of snowfall across his generalized area. You can see snow-covered roads, a winter wonderland to be had here. Look at this, yeah. As we continue through the day on Friday, look at that. Heavy snow continuing, slowly piling up there. Keep an eye out there on the roadways, kind of slick, but yeah, you can see, you can kind of get the gist of all the heavy snow that was piling up across the area, bringing a sense of almost like the holidays, Christmas in the air here. Take a look at that. And as you can see here, look at this. Yeah, there was quite a bit in the way of warnings here, but yeah, the following day, Saturday, you can see kind of digging out there from the snowfall. And here we go, John, taking a look at Fisher's Island, beautiful Fisher's Island, New York, Duke, London, Connecticut, and Orient Point Ferries and Drive on South Haven Ave, Long Island, New York. Take a look at this, getting out there and enjoying the weather to be had here. And take a look at that blue sky as he's just cruising along on the roadway here or there. Nice capture there, John. And as you can see downstate here, there is still a little bit of color and foliage left on those trees. Definitely a different world than the rest of upstate New York where we're plunged into Arctic blast. Nice captures there, John. All right, so as we take a look at temperatures here as we go throughout the week, this is Monday. Yeah, we're getting a warming trend going on through parts of the Northeast. We'll finally be getting 40 in many places into Tuesday. You can see just, this area north of this line, 32 or below. But, most of the areas, this is pretty seasonable or a little bit warmer than you should be for this time of year. Look at this. We get into the 40s, near 50 here, heading on into Wednesday. And watch Thanksgiving Day here. We get a surge of warmer air heading into parts of the Northeast. That is pretty interesting, but the big wild card is Friday. What goes on with these temperatures as this low pressure strengthens? If this low heads a little bit more towards the coastline here, this could drag down colder air, and your early highs might be in the 40s, but falling through the 30s and the 20s. Definitely something to watch here. You can see this is Saturday. The colder air definitely is being pulled south. These interior temperatures could actually be colder here. Extended outlook for my hometown viewers, Binghamton, Scranton, Upper Susquehanna, River Valley of New York and Pennsylvania. Look at this, taking us through Thanksgiving here. We're going to have a windy start, but look at that. Temperatures warm by to the mid-40s, mid to upper 40s by Thanksgiving Day. Will be nice and sunny, so if you have travel plans, get out there and enjoy. We will have Friday. It may start out as snow, transitioning to rain, windy conditions, and then maybe snow on the backside as well. More rain than snow, though. 44 for a high, very windy. Thanks for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather Northeastern. Don't forget, link is in the description down below for my winter outlook for this winter season. And also, if you want to buy me a coffee, tip jar also down below. You can find it down there. Also, Facebook MeteoMark, also Weather Northeastern, also Hurricane Northeastern, also Twitter at Weather Eastern. And don't forget, MeteoMark.com, WeatherNortheastern.com. Thanks for joining me.